Hello, my name is Louise Hutchison and I am Accessibility Manager at DF Concerts. I'm here today to speak to you all about accessibility at TRNSMT and how we became the first Scottish festival to receive the Gold Award from the lovely people at Attitude is Everything. So how did we do it? First of all, when I came into the business in 2019, there was already great, fantastic foundations to begin with. The company had already received the Bronze Award from Attitude is Everything and were already meeting silver and gold targets already. Myself, I have a great passion for inclusivity, equality, accessibility and diversity, and coincidentally, this is also the key values of DF Concerts as well. So naturally, I had some great people behind me to back me in my personal goals and personal passions of this. Which also made me strive to want to just, instead of going from bronze to silver, which we were naturally meant to do, I decided let's just go straight from bronze to gold. So I put in a lot of hard work to get to that point. The main thing for me was understanding the customer journey. So when you look at the Equality Act and you look at disability, you obviously have many sub-communities that fall under disability. And for me, I felt it was very important to try and understand the barriers that are in place for each sub-community and what we can do to ensure that if someone from that sub-community, for example, let's say hearing impairment or visual impairment were to come to our festival, then what would stop them coming to our festival and what we can do to ensure that they become fans of our festival and come back each time. To understand this, I reached out to members of these sub-communities that were already at our festival and asked them what we could be doing more. We got feedback from our festival. I consulted with Attitude is Everything, done my own research, looked into charities. We got in touch with Scottish Autism, for example, to learn a wee bit more about autism and Asperger's at our festival and what we can do. And also looked at what free training was out there as well that I could get on board with. Before the pandemic, I was lucky enough to find a free training course on Eventbrite, which was for hearing and visual impairment, and I managed to wangle my way into the course and was able to get a better understanding of how we can help those customers come to our event. So I just want to go through the cycle of our festival, some of the targets that we had to reach to attain the Gold Award. So with my role as Accessibility Manager, I am managing accessibility at every outdoor event. Within this cycle, access is included at every point of the festival. I'm there at on-sale meetings, I'm there at planning meetings, I'm there on site every single day and beforehand on site, I'm there at the stage of debrief. So accessibility has a voice in every single step of the way of us planning our festival, carrying out our festival, and these are the same things that I go through with every single outdoor show that we do. So accessibility has a major play in setting up and putting on our shows. So for example, at the on-sale point, we ensure that when we go on sale with our tickets, we make sure that we have an accessible ticketing process, that ticket providers that we use, for example, Ticketmaster, they have everything that they need from myself to ensure that customers know how they can get accessible tickets to our event. We make sure that we have an accessible application process. For TRNSMT, you buy your own ticket, whether it's general admission or VIP. You then fill out an application which we improved last year to add in as many questions that we could think of, and based on the feedback from customers to try and meet as many requests as we could. We added in a question around BSL interpreting, if anyone's bringing an assistance dog, from a requirement of hearing loops, changing places, toilets, quiet areas. So from the feedback from previous years, we expanded our list of requests that people could come into us, and we have a comment box for people to put in if there's anything that we've not already mentioned. Where we're selling VIP tickets, we need to make sure that what's involved in the VIP ticket, that there is an accessible version of something, or if we're putting something on within VIP, that the structure or whatever it is that we're doing is accessible. And we also have a PA policy at DF concerts, so if someone was to need a PA or a carer, companion, whatever you'd like to call it, to attend our event, then we provide that for free. We move on to the planning stage of the event. So this is obviously the most important stage of our event, and making sure that our learnings from the previous year from customers are fed into, from the previous year's debrief are fed into our planning stages. For example, in 2019, we brought back Pamela, who are Changing Places van, and they are now part of Transmit, and they come every single year. They're not only used for a Changing Places toilet. We've had customers at Glasgow summer sessions who use them, someone who was an amputee who got their foot stuck in the mud, who used that as a place to find somewhere more private to kind of get themselves sorted again. We've also used Pamalu, some customers have used Pamalu to kind of help them if they're having a panic attack or something, because it is an enclosed van that they can get access to. 2021, just last year, we incorporated a bar at the platform from feedback from customers that the bar staff who are on the platform were obviously going to the bars and back for them, but they were having to navigate crowds. So last year, we implemented a bar service at the platform, so access customers could get their drinks quickly, and the bar staff didn't have to navigate all the way through the crowds. We also included a merchandise service at the platform, so instead of customers or their PAs having to go to the merch stall, our access team done that for them as well. And as I said before, we have several planning meetings throughout the year to make sure that we're keeping on track with things, and I'm there to make sure that if something is raised from another department, that they're including access at every step of their way. Obviously, a big challenge which everyone really faced was COVID. Normally we have about 10 months to plan the full of Transmit. COVID put us in a position where I had more pressure and more time constraints to deliver the Gold Award and to meet all the targets we had. Instead of having 10 months, when I came back from furlough, which usually it was about 3 or 4 months that I had to try and pull everything together. But we got there in the end. Now, when it comes to on-site, I'm the main person there to kind of go between all the access facilities and make sure that everything that what we planned for has been implemented, and make sure that if there's been any sudden changes, that it's not going to put a barrier in place for someone. I'm also there as a friendly face for customers. We get to know our customers that we have been speaking to for the last 10 months. And just essentially making sure that everything has been kept to a high standard. At debrief, we debrief every single night into Transmit. We speak to customers throughout the day, asking them if there's anything that they would change, that we could implement for the Saturday and the Sunday. Following day, we have a debrief survey that goes out to all our customers with a specific access point. Going forward this year, from feedback, we are going to create a specific one that gets sent to only access customers instead of including it within the full survey that gets sent to all ticket buyers. We also look at our disability. We also look at disability review sites such as Ewan's Guide and have a look at what customers have been reviewing us and what they've been saying at that point, and kind of take that feedback on board. And then we usually get comments come into our customer service inquiry lines, and we just collate everything together, look at it all, review it all, take on everything that's positive and constructive, and we ensure that that's put into our improvement plan for the following year. So in terms of kind of training, so this is a section of our staff handbook. You might not be able to see this very well, but within our staff handbook that gets given to every single person who's working on site, from bar staff to DF staff to site crew to welfare, first aid, they are all given the staff handbook. We have a dedicated section for accessibility. We have a reminder of one of the complaints we normally get from accessible customers is that a staff member was insensitive about their disability. A reminder to people to think about your words and actions that can hurt someone, and also a reminder of invisible and hidden disabilities as well. We have our key points from a wayfinding point of view, so entrances, parking, drop-off points, what facilities are at each stage in VIP. We have 2 separate wristbands that we use, one for the platform and one for customers who don't want to be on the platform but also need access to accessible facilities. We have our handy do's and don'ts, which kind of acts as a mini training brief on how to conduct yourself when you're speaking to someone with accessible requirements, and then obviously our key distances as well. So I'm just going to go through kind of what access is like when you're at TRNSMT. From the very beginning, we have all our access information on our website in its own individual box. You can download the information that's on the website via Word or PDF to kind of help with anyone who uses a screen reader. We also have an audio version of the form, and we also have an easy read guide as well. In terms of our access application, as I said previously, we have improved it to make sure that we're covering as many requests that we can think of that have came from previous years. On-site facilities, so as soon as you arrive to the Blue Badge parking area, you have a level pathway that takes you straight to the east entrance, which is the accessible entrance, where you have our box office, which has a lowered window. It's then level access straight through to the accessible platform. Our accessible platform has grew dramatically since TRNSMT began. We usually had about 100 people on the platform. We're now at our max capacity of 340 people who can fit on the platform, and the platform, you could land a helicopter on it now, which is so big. We also have our King Tut's platform as well, which you can see Kevin's at down there, which is a smaller platform which we have in place with accessible toilets in its own area. But we usually find that because we run a good service on our main stage platform, that most people tend to stay at the platform. We advise customers it's there for them as a base. They don't have to stay there the full time. They can go out and go around the festival, but they have their reserved spot on there. They can come and go as they please. I'm based at the platform. I'm basically there to kind of help resolve any customer issues, a friendly face. We have a group of volunteers that come in from a charity, and they work as our customer access team, and they are essentially runners for our disabled customers. They have their own section, their own set of customers that they look after, and they will go and get food for them. They'll go get drinks for them. Our bar staff will do the alcoholic drinks. They will go get, they will fill up their water bottle, they will get them earplugs if needed, they will get them ponchos if needed, and they're there to basically be their friends. And you end up finding that people make really good friendships just because they've went out their way to do everything for them. And the customer access team last year, we improved that service by printing out menus for every single trader, which had the prices on them, and printed out all the merchandise as well. So it stopped their volunteers having to go back and forth and having a conversation over what do you want, this is the price, and then coming back. The customers were able to look at the merchandise on the platform, decide what they wanted, and then give the money to the volunteers to go get them for it. So it helped in that way. We have seen a massive increase in customers coming to us with mental health conditions. Our accessible platform is not just for wheelchair users, it's for all disabilities. Since COVID, we have found a lot of people are a lot more anxious of coming into a massive crowd like TRNSMT, and our accessible platform is a safe space for everybody. We've increased the mental health support we have on site. Last year we had the Samaritans on board, which was at our new wellbeing hub, which is an area, a quiet zone. There's beanbags, it's a space for you to chill out, and if you're feeling overwhelmed at the amount of people that's there. We also have mental health first aiders. Our first aid teams and our welfare teams have a select amount of crew that have been trained in mental health first aid. I'm also trained in mental health first aid as well as a point of contact for someone on the platform. And we'll move on to Gig Buddies. So Gig Buddies is a fantastic organisation. If you've not heard of them, I recommend reaching out to them. They provide a buddy system for people who have learning difficulties and autism and Asperger's, and it allows allows those with those requirements to go out and enjoy gigs and theatre shows without their carers having to be home by a certain time. So you can sign up to be a gig buddy, and you can come to TRNSMT. We provide gig buddies with 2 tickets per day, and it's worked really well. They usually have kind of their staff day outs and their team day outs at TRNSMT. And not just for TRNSMT, we've extended that ticket donation to the majority of the shows that we do at DF as well. So it's not just our fans we look after in terms of artists and staff, in terms of what you were saying about the Just Ask campaign. In our Artist Advance, we include a section about artists and their touring party, if they have any accessible requirements, to let us know, so we can put in specific measures for them. And we also printed out the Music Minds Matter helpline number and stuck that around every area that we could, backstage and dressing room, arts dressing rooms, staff points, for crew. The number is not just for artists, it's for anybody working in music, so it was available for everybody on site, back of house, to use. So I'll just move on to what our fans actually think. So I'll give you a wee moment to just have a look at some feedback that we've received here. Obviously, feedback is massively important to us. It helps us grow. It helps us keep learning. There's still so much for us at DF to learn around disability and what else that we can do. The feedback that we do get from customers helps us massively. So I'm just going to move on and talk about this lovely young lady. So this is Zarina, and I'm just going to speak to you about Zarina's story at TRNSMT. So Zarina came to us in 2019 when she was 13 years old and experiencing our first festival. She was extremely anxious. She wouldn't go on the platform. She would sit in the trackway down where the toilets were in a blanket with her baby doll. She would not speak to anybody. She she was just with her parents. She could see from her parents that it was stressful for them, but they were quite happy that she had chosen her spot, and that was where she wanted to stay for the full weekend, essentially. She slowly made her way up to the platform. She would then go on, the next day she would go up onto the ramp, and she would get closer and closer to the front of the platform. When we were kind of debriefing at the end of the night, it was actually something that people look forward to at the end of the night after a long day of hearing if Zarina got further. And by the end of the night, it was a special moment for everybody when Zarina finally made that leap and had that courage to go onto the platform, and was able to look out and actually see it wasn't too scary. She is in a safe place. There's lots of room up there for her. And it was such a special moment for our parents, for ourselves, for everybody there. And then we jumped to last year. Zarina bought her ticket straight away after our visit in 2019. We jumped to last year, and Zarina's straight in. She's straight up the platform. She's run about. She's dancing. She's speaking to people, engaging with staff, engaging with the volunteers, and she is just a completely different person, and you can tell that she absolutely loves being there. She loves music. She loves dancing, and everyone was so welcome to her. From a commercial point of view, Zarina is now a long-term fan, and she will come back every single year. After last year, she bought an early bird ticket, and she's contacting me all the time, excited. I spoke to her on the phone this week to ask her mum if it was okay if I could put her picture up. And the feedback that her mum has gave is, and I quote, "She's became a different human being, and I feel that TRNSMT has made a massive impact on her life and helped her become the confident young woman that she is today." Zarina's story is just is one of many stories that we get, and I can't describe how massively proud it makes me to feel in my job and my role that I've gave her that opportunity to now become more confident in life. We've made a small part of that, but she is now a young, thriving woman and is desperate to come back and enjoy live music. And then jump back to 2019 when everybody on Sunday night found out that she got to the top of the platform. Everyone was tired and burnt out, and I think pretty much everybody started crying. It was a special moment. So I'll skip to my last slide. So here's Transmit, and here's our accessible platform. This was 2019. As you can see, it's quite a huge platform. We've got our toilets and Pamalu around there. It's all enclosed in. So how can you say yes before you say no? So this is advice that I was given from Attitude is Everything. And basically what it means is if someone comes to you with a request, you have to look at every single option available to you before you can go back to that customer and say, no, we can't help you. So if there's one key takeaway from this is always remember, how can you say yes before you say no? Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Louise. So before we hand over to Michael, we'll take just to keep Michael's suspense a little bit longer. We'll take a few minutes for. Has anyone got any questions they'd like to ask Louise about her presentation? Hand up at the front.
Yeah, that is part of the targets with Attitude is Everything as well, is to find more disabled artists. Certainly through Gig Buddies, we are already aware of disabled artists that are out there. For myself, I've been speaking with our promotions team and our bookers and saying that this is something that we do need to do, and it's really just trying to find. For me, it's trying to find disabled artists. It's trying to get out there, find events that are already happening. I was at a Gig Buddies event last week, and I'm now aware of 3 new artists like yourself. Certainly pass on your details for me, and it's something I really I'd want to push, is having that platform available. So certainly send me your details. Yeah, absolutely. I'll speak to you after this.
Brill. Anyone else with a question? Marley, if you got your hand up.
Yes.
And I think there's a resistance, certainly from Marcin, to say this is my work, and I'm on the spectrum, and he probably feels that that's a barrier. And essentially, in terms of how he can communicate as well, it's a big barrier to approaching a big company like yourself.
Yeah.
So I think
no, it's just I found DF particularly quite difficult, to be honest, with that way and trying to get trophies. And like, I'm obviously presenting the music.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of really wanting to fully disclose the spectrum artistic and the business element of what I'm doing. But I had no bother from other promotion companies from getting work with them, and I'm going to be asking questions. It's just, yeah, well, what's the sort of, when it comes to booking process for that, you've got, like, obviously for the festivals when people are buying the tickets, there's a wee, like a wee checkbox that you can sort of, yeah. Have you got anything in place like that for booking artists?
For myself, I don't have a lot of influence in the booking department. I'm not in the booking department, but I do have a passion to try and push a barrier and break down barriers. It's with all booking, with all band inquiries, we all push through the same form. And if there is feedback and suggestion on a specific form, I can make suggestions of how we can make the form better. So.
Am I right in thinking that that's maybe something that your company's starting to maybe go in the direction of being able to support more artists that have access to clients to either film for men or to get here?
Yeah, I can certainly chat to you after this, and then we can, if there's a certain alternative format that you would prefer to submit your details in, then I'm certainly open to feedback and how I can help influence a certain area within the company.
Brilliant. I think what we'll do is we'll move on to Michael's presentation now, and there should be more time for questions at the end. Marley, I think, is performing in the A&R bit in a little bit as well. Just I thought I'd get that kind of plug in there quickly so you can see Marley's music a little bit later on. So he was telling me that this morning, so that's great. So, Michael,